Alright guys, so as you can see I'm out in my workshop at the moment, just having a little bit of time to myself. So this is going to be a super quick, well I say quick, I'll probably wrap it on for a little bit, but a bit of an update on the situation regarding my wife's health. For those of you that are keen to know what's been going on, how she is at the moment, I just want to thank all those that have actually reached out to me, basically subscribers of my main YouTube channel, and I really appreciate all the emails of concern, just asking how we are, etc. People that have let me know that they're thinking of me and the family. I really appreciate that. So basically, this is going to be an unscripted video, just me talking. I've got no notes or nothing, so I might jump backwards and forwards a little bit. Not sure how much battery I've got on the mic, so I want to try and get this done before the battery goes dead. So basically, I think it was the 23rd of August in the early hours. Me and the wife were watching TV as usual, and I said something to her, turned around to look at her, and got no response. So kind of shouted at her again, and she responded. So I was like, oh, thank God for that. Then 5 minutes later, I spoke to her. No response. Turned around, and she was just kind of looking up at the ceiling, blank expression on her face. So I spoke to her, no response. Knew something was up. Went over to her, tried to get her attention, nothing, and then she started kind of convulsing and having a seizure. So I rung 999 straight away, as usual. Um, Took the paramedics a little while to get there, or it seemed like an eternity, but by the time the paramedics actually arrived, she'd kind of gone out of one seizure and kind of calmed down, and then started having a second seizure. Now, my wife's already decided that if anything happens to her, she wants it to happen at home. She doesn't want to be kept in hospital. So the ambulance staff were informed of that, and they were actually at the scene, my house, for about 2.5 hours. And over that time, my wife had a further 8 seizures, bringing the total to 10. Now, at the time, they were breathing for her with that little bag. And once all the family had kind of arrived, we were left with a choice, according to the paramedics, that they either keep helping her or they stop, um, and basically make her comfortable. So we all decided, the best thing to do was stop helping her and make her comfortable, which is what they did. In the meantime, we had hospice at home, set up. So the hospital bed was brought in, various other equipment was brought in, and my wife's actually been sleeping in the living room for 3 days. She was kind of totally unresponsive. She had to wear kind of adult pads because she was incontinent for those 3 days, because she was basically out of it. We all thought we were going to lose her. Then third or fourth day, she started opening her eyes. Eventually, she started nodding when people asked her questions, and it slowly started to improve. Whereas she started speaking again. Within a week, she was kind of able to sit up, get out of the bed, and we were using the wheelchair to push her from the bed down the hallway to the downstairs toilet. She was using the toilet herself. She'd gained full control of all that. Um, and then as the weeks kind of went on, she got better and better and was able to kind of walk around the house on her own steam. I've basically been doing everything in the house, all the normal jobs that need doing, i.e., shopping, washing, sorting all that out, working out what bills needed paying, and making sure all that was paid. I'm now actually a full-time primary carer, and up until 2 days ago, we were just getting one hour visits in the morning where they'd come in and wash her down. So even though she's kind of she came round. Eventually, she could walk under her own steam. She could get out of the bed, sit on the sofa, and all that. Unlike the first two seizures, where she kind of got back to her old self, there was no memory problems, confusion. After the latest episode, she's never really made a full recovery. She's basically, even though she got to a really good point, I mean, she was eating quite well, she was drinking, she was able to walk around the house, she had control of her own like bladder and bowels, which was good, and she had that little bit of independence. We just basically had 1 hour visits for the carers every morning, 7 days a week, to give her a wash down, change her nightie and all that, which was fine. And then I'd manage for the rest of the day and night. There has been quite a lot of confusion. You can't leave her on her own now, because if you're talking to her, she'll come out with the most random things, or you'll tell her something and then she'll ask the same questions, and you constantly got to repeat yourself all the time. I woke up in the night because she's been sleeping in the bed in the living room. I've been sleeping on the sofa or in a recliner chair in the living room with her. And I've woken up to her kind of getting out of bed, saying she needed the toilet, but she'd kind of got to the hallway and was totally stressing out, trying to get undressed to go to the loo. Didn't know where she was, couldn't find her way to the toilet. And then when I helped her, she'd get even more distressed. And I think I was conspiring against her, and she was going to pee herself, and that I was just annoying her. And my wife's always been a really cool, like, lover, not a fighter. She never gets aggressive, she never gets argumentative. We never argue, which is one of the things I love about her. I was quite fiery when we met, and over the years she's kind of calmed me down a lot, which I'm grateful for. But now she tends to get a bit aggressive and like angry at me, which I know isn't her, it's a disease. Along with the confusion, which isn't in itself is quite hurtful to see. I've been like finding her like wandering into the kitchen. I've learnt to kind of listen out what she's doing, and I can hear the fridge if she's getting an ice lolly or some fruit out the fridge or whatever. If she's getting a bag of crisps, I can basically know that. But I've gone out there because I've heard her rustling the cat food pouches, and she's been opening them and trying to eat those. And she really just hasn't got a clue what she's doing. Now, she has good days and bad days where things like that are like worse, and then she has days where she's quite coherent, knows what she's doing, and everything's fine. But then other days she gets really confused, and I mean, for that reason you can't leave her on her own. I've had to hide a lot of stuff because she's trying to drink things she shouldn't drink, so a lot of the dangerous things I've had to move out of the way. I've had to put all the medications and things away because she roots through them, and when you ask her what she's doing, she's like, well, I'm taking my medication, but of course I'm dealing with all the meds now and making sure she takes them as and when. So for the last 7, 8 weeks, that's how it's been. One visit from the carers, and I've kind of been watching her. We've had nights where she sleeps quite well, and then I can sleep. Other nights where she's constantly kind of restless, trying to get up, walking around the house. In which case I've had to be awake and following her around. And it is quite hard because her personality is totally different now. After the first two seizures, she kind of went back to her normal self, and there was no difference this time. She's never really recovered. She can't do any of the things she used to, like paying bills. She can't use her laptop. She can't even work out how to use a simple TV remote because she just stares at it and it confuses her. She don't go on her phone now. If people video call her, like family and that, she puts the phone down and forgets she's even talking to people. She still knows who people are when you're in the house. You can still sit down and have somewhat of a conversation with her. I mean, tell her you love her, she'll tell me she loves me back. But a lot of the time she just sits there in silence. We used to sit there watching Netflix of an evening. We don't do that anymore. In fact, we very rarely watch TV. Um, so even though I might not be commenting on people's videos as much as I always have in the past, I I still watch a lot of your videos just for entertainment. But I'm normally of an evening sat in the dark because obviously I don't want to disturb her, but I also don't want to leave her on her own in case anything happens. So just recently, in the last week or so, she's had a couple of like getting unsteady on her feet, and she's had a couple of falls, and she's been unable to get off the floor. The first time she was actually trying to sit on a stoop stool in our kitchen, but as she turned around, she missed it, ended up on the floor. I had to ring 999. My wife isn't a skinny woman, so I can't actually lift her on my own without kind of hurting her. So I had to ring 999, but because it's not classed as an emergency, I ended up waiting 6, 7 hours. So we were basically sat on the kitchen floor chatting all that night. So we didn't get any sleep. Um, I've still got other things that need doing in the day. Although she gets to sleep, I don't necessarily get to sleep. Um, don't get me wrong, I'm more than happy to care for her because I know she would do it for me or anyone else because that's the sort of woman she is. But she's had another couple of kind of falls where we've ended up on the floor. Now, I've been lucky enough to get neighbours round. We've been able to lift her up. And then once you kind of get her into a sitting position, she's able to kind of stand up and walk. That was until the last day or so when she seems to have gone right downhill. She'd been eating well, drinking well, but a couple of days ago she didn't eat nothing, breakfast or whatever. She had problems taking her oral medication, and she actually got one of them stuck in her throat and was sick. So of course then I was worried she wasn't getting the anti-seizure meds that she was supposed to have. So I've been on to like the district nurses and things and had to get them round. They've put on these, they're called syringe drivers. They're like boxes where you put all the drugs in, and they've got like a syringe inside, and it just kind of slowly administers drugs over a 24-hour period. She had them to start with when she was kind of out of it and unable to take normal medication, but she kind of improved enough to have them taken out. And I was giving her normal tablets, which she's been fine on until the last few days. Now she's had to have the drivers put back in. Um, Although she's still my wife, she's like a completely different person. Her personality is completely different. As much as I mean, I don't care about me at the moment. I know a lot of people are going to say that I need to take time to myself. I am more than happy to be able to give her the opportunity to be at home, because that's one of her like wishes. It is hard. It does get really upsetting and frustrating at times to see someone you love deteriorating right in front of your eyes. But I am quite happy that I get to do that because it's kind of her dying wish, and she wants to be around like our pets and family. So I'm not really worried about myself too much. As long as she's taken care of and happy, then I'm happy. Um, I want to thank those of you that are subscribed to my main channel. I want to thank you for your continued support and for not kind of unsubscribing and running away because I haven't been able to produce the content over on that channel. I have got a video in the pipeline. I done it recently when I had like a spare hour to come out here. It's not as dialed in as my normal videos, but it's a quick review video of some products I got from Banggood. So I will be trying to edit that and get that up. Like I say, the quality ain't great, but it is what it is right now. So yeah, the last few days she's kind of got the drivers back in. She's back in bed. She's got a catheter fitted so she doesn't have to move to go to the loo. We have got a kind of, she has got to wear like the adult pads for bowel movements, because obviously she can't get out of bed at the moment. They have sedated her again, so she's a bit out of it. And for the last 2 days, she's kind of just been sleeping mainly. Today's actually the first day because we're trying to set up more than one visit for the carers to come in, because obviously I need help to change the pads when she goes to loo, and I can't do that on my own. So we're trying to get other visits, but in the meantime, we've got teams coming in. They come in for like 4 hours today, just to give me a chance to get some of the other jobs done, and a little bit of time to myself, because it's mentally draining. Um, Seeing someone you love deteriorate so quickly. Our lives basically changed on the 23rd of August, and we know they're never going to go back to being the way they were. We know that anything can happen at any time. This will take her life in the end. We're just cherishing every moment we've got at the moment, trying to kind of keep each other together, help each other out. With Mel being the priority, of course. But yeah, at the moment, what is the time? Because the carers are going in a minute. That's right, I've got 20 minutes. Yeah, so things aren't that great at the moment. I'm hoping it's just because they've kind of sedated her again and got the syringe drivers attached that she's kind of a bit out of it. Because yesterday night, before they fitted the syringe drivers and added the sedation, she was up, and she did, although she didn't eat the day before, which I was really worried about, she did manage to eat some slices of toast and jam last night and have a little bit of a drink. So that was good to see that she was eating again. She hasn't drunk or eaten anything today, mainly because she hasn't really come round properly. She's opened her eyes, said the odd word, gone back to sleep again. But that's probably because she's heavily sedated again. I'm hoping this isn't the beginning of the end. I'm hoping she's going to kind of get a little bit better again, how she was, where she's able to move onto the sofa and that. I mean, there's no guarantee that's what's going to happen. This could be because of the illness, and it's just suddenly progressed a lot quicker. But it could just be a blip. She's had a couple of quite rough days. She had to go over to hospital to get an ultrasound on her ankle because that was swollen up, and that took it out of her. But they sent us over. They sent an ambulance to take us over there to make it easier for us. But we didn't leave our house till 4:45, and by the time we got over there, the people that do the ultrasound had gone home. So we basically spent 6 hours being messed around at the hospital, only to get back and have to go back the next day. And that kind of wiped her out completely. And then she's had like carers coming in, then St. Peter's like nurses coming in, then we had a visit from the district nurses doing different things, and that means she can't sleep during the day. And when she has days like that close together, it does take it out of her. So I'm hoping that is why she's kind of just a bit more not so good on her feet, but there's no guarantee. All we can do is give it time and see how things go. But at the moment, she's kind of out of it, in bed, can't move. We're in the process of setting up not just a visit in the morning when they wash her, but maybe a visit in the like afternoon and then one in the evening, just to kind of keep an eye on her pads and change it if needed. Give her another wash down. I have resulted in when she was going to the toilet, I've had to, I mean, this may sound a bit gross, but I've had to wipe her backside basically and a private area, and I didn't think I'd be able to do anything like that. But to be honest, you do whatever you've got to do to make your loved one comfortable, and it really didn't phase me like I thought it would. And even doing everything in the house, you kind of get into a routine. You don't mind just being on the go constantly, having to be on guard. You kind of get into a routine. You keep on top of everything, and it becomes less of a chore. Yes, it's mentally very, very difficult to watch a loved one going through all of this, but at the same time, I'm happy and proud of myself and proud of the family that we're giving her the opportunity to remain at home. I said I'd do this without getting choked up, and I'm determined to do it. But yeah, I mean, that is our concern. We want her to be where she wants to be, surrounded by family, and if anything happens, worst comes to the worst, she's at home when it happens. So I'm going to end this video there. I've probably missed little bits out, but that's basically what's going on. She's like a different person. She's got a different personality. It's a little bit like looking after a child in many ways. Obviously, I don't think any less of her. I'm not bothered by having to do like dirty jobs or anything like that. I do whatever needs doing. So that is my life and my wife's life and my family's in a nutshell. So until the next video, look after yourselves. Tell the people that you love them, because you never know, your life could change in an instant, just like mine has. So make sure that you tell your loved ones what they mean to you. And I will be along in the near future for another update as and when I can. So until the next video, stay safe, and as always, thanks for watching and take care, and you'll see me in the next video. Cheers for watching, guys.